What made my Uber driver pull over and demand I get out halfway home? I called an Uber after work last Thursday because my car was in the shop. The driver seemed normal when he picked me up. Some guy named Trevor, maybe mid-30s, had one of those air fresheners shaped like a tree hanging from his mirror. I got in and told him my address, which was about 15 minutes away. Everything was fine for the first few minutes. We were making small talk about the weather, how traffic was lighter than usual. I was scrolling through my phone, checking messages from my roommate about what we wanted for dinner. Then my phone rang. It was my mom. I almost declined it because she always calls at the worst times, but I figured a quick conversation wouldn't hurt. So I answered and said, "Hey mom, what's up?" That's when she started going off about my sister Emma again. My sister had been staying with my parents for the past month after her breakup, and apparently she'd been driving them crazy. Mom was complaining about how Emma leaves dishes everywhere, stays up all night watching Netflix with the volume too loud, brings random guys over without asking. I was trying to keep my voice down because I felt awkward talking about family drama in front of the driver, but my mom was getting louder and more worked up. She started saying stuff like, Emma needs to grow up and get her own place, and how she's 32 years old acting like she's in college. Then she said something that made me cringe. She goes, "I swear your sister is just like her father, lazy and takes advantage of everyone around her." My parents have been divorced for like 8 years, but mom still brings up my dad whenever she's really frustrated about something. I glanced at the driver and noticed he kept looking at me in the rearview mirror. His whole vibe had changed. He wasn't nodding along to the music anymore, and his hands were gripping the steering wheel tighter. My mom kept going. She started talking about how my dad never helped with anything when they were married, how he'd come home from work and just sit on the couch while she did everything. Then she said, "Men like that never change. They just find new women to take care of them." That's when I saw the driver's jaw clench. I tried to wrap up the call, telling my mom I'd call her back later, but she wasn't having it. She launched into this whole story about how my dad forgot to pick me up from soccer practice when I was 12 and how she had to leave work early to get me. The driver started driving faster. We were on this residential street with a speed limit of 25 and he was doing at least 40. I was getting nervous, but didn't want to say anything while I was still on the phone. Then my mom said the thing that apparently pushed him over the edge. She goes, "Trevor was just like your father too. Never took responsibility for anything. I'm so glad Emma finally dumped him." I froze. The driver's name was Trevor. What were the odds? He slammed on the brakes so hard I almost dropped my phone. We were at a red light and he turned around to look at me with this expression I'll never forget. Pure rage mixed with hurt. "Did she just say Trevor?" he asked. His voice was shaking. I told my mom I had to go and hung up. My heart was pounding because I realized what had happened. This guy was my sister's ex-boyfriend, the same Trevor my mom had been trash-talking for the past 10 minutes. He pulled over to the curb and put the car in park. "Get out," he said. I tried to explain that I didn't know it was him, that I was sorry about what my mom said, but he was having none of it. He told me he didn't want to hear another word from anyone in my family ever again. "Your sister broke up with me over text after 3 years, he said. 3 years. And now I have to listen to her mother call me lazy while I'm working 2 jobs to pay off the credit card debt she left me with." I felt terrible. I grabbed my purse and got out of the car. We were about 7 blocks from my apartment in a neighborhood I didn't really know. It was getting dark and starting to rain. Before he drove off, he rolled down the window and said, "Tell Emma she still owes me for the security deposit on that apartment she made me co-sign for." I ended up walking home in the rain, which gave me plenty of time to think about how messed up the whole situation was. When I got back to my place, I called my sister right away. Turns out she'd been lying to my parents about why they broke up. She told them Trevor was lazy and wasn't contributing to their relationship, but the truth was, she'd been cheating on him with some guy from her yoga class for 2 months. She broke up with Trevor the day after he found out.